What's up YouTube? Welcome back to Scoop and Ready. Down in the sew shop again today. Have a fun project. We're going to be making one of these carry-on duffel bags. So these are measured out to be the exact size of the TSA maximum limit. There is no wheels, there's no big handles or anything like that that take away from your storage space. So it gives you the ability to take as much stuff as possible in the carry-on with you. Open it up, has a nice big flap in there, has a pocket up top, has a couple of pockets down inside. It's got a pocket here on the end where you want to put keys or wallets, maybe tickets or headphones when putting it on the plane. That way if you put it up on the storage bin above you, you still have access to it. While it's up there, you don't need to take it down to find your important little stuff. So we got a template for each piece that we're going to need throughout this build. And here's all those pieces laid out. I have a bunch of these different fabrics. Chemical resistant pond liner, that's going to be the durable bit, that's going to be the bottom. Fun purple, that'll be for some straps. Got some teal, going to use that for some exterior sides. The part that goes against your back, we've got some fun pink. And for the other end, we're going to have some of this sparkly blue fabric. First off, we're just going to go ahead and start cutting out all these pieces. Once they're all cut out, we'll add some zippers here, some buckles there, straps all around. But it'll get us a nice duffel bag, carry-on duffel bag. Alright, so to attach these zippers, I get them by the roll, which makes them a little cheaper that way. And then you just get the little pulls themselves. This particular zipper, this is going to be on the end of the bag. This is going to be where you get your little, your ticket pocket or whatever that goes on the end. So this one is a water resistant zipper because it's going to be on the outside of the bag. So because of that, this goes on the opposite direction. The zipper pull is made with a little notch on this back side. So what you do is they come as one piece, peel them open just a little bit, and then you feed one end in just before they where they're supposed to be touching. And you put the other piece in. Try and keep them nice and lined up as you're doing it. So the idea is to get them to come in together. Once they're in at the joining point, then you just work each side until the teeth connect. Boom, just like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them a little short, about 1 inch shorter on either side of where my pocket wants to be. That gives me seam allowances for when I come back in and sew all these pieces into place. So I got zipper for the end, zipper for the 2 inside pockets, zipper for this outside pocket, and then the last one I'm going to need is the lid interior. So that's the lid interior. We'll go with the lid exterior. Because this particular zipper is going to move around these bends, this is going to be the lid. This is what opens up the whole bag. I like these fabric zippers more than the water resistant ones. They're just a little more flexible that way. So like I was saying, you start about 1 inch from the end, make your way around. About 1 inch from the end on this side too. And just like all fabrics, the ends get a bit messed up. So I give this a little seal with some fire. So now we're going to add ends to each one of these zippers. So these want to be 1.5 inches. So we're just going to cut some strips of fabric that are 1.5 inches. Go. They're going to go with that zipper. All right, so we are going to seal up this end. We're going to do that big old zipper. Is this the big old zipper? Yeah. Okay. Finally over to the sewing machine after all the cutting. So it's pretty regular that you do nice sides together. So this is the nice side of the zipper. This is the teeth side on most zippers. And then of this is the colored side, so we're going to put that together. What we're going to do is nice sides together, try and line up your little strip of fabric. We're going to go probably 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch or so from the end. Give it a stitch. Now we're going to come over and then we're going to fold this back over itself, give it a little lip, try and keep it nice and straight. Then we're going to give it another stitch right over the top. Like to do a nice locking stitch, keeps everything together. So that is a good sealed end to a zipper. So this zipper can no longer get pulled out the end. So that'll be a nice finished side. So we're just going to do that to every single zipper we have. And make sure that we get them all nice and sealed up. Alright, so we need to start preparing the fabric that will be the pockets for the inside to attach these zippers onto them. I like to use about 2 inches from the top of the pocket to where the zipper goes. And so I slice that at 2 inches. And then this zipper is going to go boop, right in there. See, I got the pink matching the pink, so when it's all done, it'll look real nice. So I'll just set that aside over by the sewing machine. And I'll prepare a few of them, that way I can just move over to the sewing machine and just start sewing all of them when I'm ready. So this is the end piece. This one needs a little bit more layout than the other ones do because there's going to be a strap on here, so it wants to be a little bit above the strap. So this is at 10.5 inches, so that's 5 1/4 inches is going to be the center line. So we're going to lay this out. This is the center line, and this wants to be probably 2 inches up from that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so we'll give this a 2-inch line like that. So this is going to be where the zipper goes on this line. So then this one, boop, is going to go on that. Oh, that's going to be so fun. So fun. Each piece of zipper gets a few different stitches to get it all laying nice and flat. I like to find the center of it, put a clip on it, and then take the center of my other piece of fabric, just by folding it in half like that. And then just like before, we're going to put our two nice sides together. So the usable side of the zipper, the pink doesn't really matter because it's all the same on both sides. Now what I'm going to do is take these little clips and clip it off. Don't need too many because it's going to move around a little bit anyway, so you're going to have to do some readjusting while you're sewing. So with this, for me at least, the narrower side of the foot is on the right side over here. And so I'm going to use that side to be closer to the zipper beads itself. And so I'll use this. I have a little line right here on the outside foot, and this is where I found works for me to line up. So we start off by putting it there. Do a little lock stitch. Now I'm just going to go down the line. So I make sure that my lower piece is lined up to the top. So this has a nice seam along one edge. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up so we can see that. But I'm going to use the back side of it because we're going to put a seam. We're going to put a stitch down this, and this is going to be what holds it flat. So this goes there. So I hold these two bits apart, and I'm going to run it right on the outside of my original seam. Now if you look at the front side, this one's not the cleanest. A little bit of an old zipper and really soft fabric, but so the last bit with these zipper pieces before we assemble the full bag is we got to attach the inside pieces and the outside pieces. So I like to do this. It's easier to have it with a seam in there than it is with all these clips when you're trying to do your final assembly. So I like to get as close as I can to the edge, usually just about 1/8 of an inch or so. Don't need a locking stitch, and I'll just go all the way around. All right. Now we're just going to do this to the two sides of the bag, which has the teal on the outside and the bright pink on the inside. The lid that I just had, so that's the kind of the end of the bag, and then we have the bottom end of the bag that has this heavy-duty rubbery stuff on there. So once these are all sewed together, then we can actually start assembling the bag. We have our side pieces all sewed up. We got the zippers in there. We got our quick stitches that go around the outside that kind of keep these together easier than needing to have a bunch of clips in everywhere we're going to have them. So the next step is we're going to start assembling the main section of the bag, or at least the body of it. We still have to do the lid, but at this point I like to sew these parts in, set those aside, and then I'll start making the lid. So just like usual, we're going to put the nice sides together. And so with this rubber side, it has a cool textured bit. I wanted to put that towards the outside. Do I want to put that towards the outside? Yeah. So we're going to put nice sides together. And so that goes for the sides or the walls of the bag. And then the base. And so the base, just like we've talked about before, it's the same on both sides. So we're just going to line up the wall, nice sides together, because once this gets flipped inside out, then this comes and becomes the outside of the bag, and the purple becomes the inside of the bag. So we're going to line that up on the corner just like that, and we'll come along with our clips and start clipping it all together. And this one having 3 pieces together, I do like to add a few extra clips just with the extra thickness of all the fabric. It's kind of nice to have a little extra hold to it. Make sure that your zipper is away from this edge because you don't want your zipper to be at the bottom of the bag when it's open. You want to be at the top. I've made that mistake before, so take your time at this point. Just line up all your pieces. It's a pain in the butt coming through and cutting all these stitches out if you mess something up. Now I'm going to flip this around because that seam is going to be good on the other side. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side, but I want my zipper to be on this other side, tight to the edge. Beautiful. To the sewing machine. All right, turning it inside out. Turning it inside out. Grab one end. Give it a pull. Beautiful. What a fun bag. Now, I want to fold these in and put a seam down each edge to hold the inside down. As you can see right now, we got this little part, and with this heavy duty rubber, it pulls pretty good. So I'm going to throw a seam down that just like I do with the zippers. Alright, so for this section, this is going to be the inside of the top of the lid. So this is when you open it up, the zipper is going to be around the inside of here. There's going to be a little mesh pocket in here. And so I had these 3 pieces cut out. One was either side of the same piece and one was a longer one. It's just a little bit more efficient for fabric to do it this way than it was to make it one big piece. And because it's going to be hidden under the lid, I didn't think it was a big deal. So we're just going to give this a 3/8 of an inch seam. Give it a lock. Open it up. Trim all these. Now when you open it up, you can either put the flattening seam to be on the other side, or you can do one of the French ones and open it up and seal it that way and put one on both sides. I don't really care enough, so I'm just going to put one seam on there. And that just holds it down. And I just do it just about the foot's width away. Trim off. So that just gives you a nice finished look on that seam, holds it nice and flat, and it's easier for the assembly process. We're about to get a whole lot of pieces of fabric piling up on each other. So just like most of our seams, we're going to put the good to good, or clean to clean, nice fine finished side to finished side, I don't know, however you want to say it. The pretty parts together, the part that you don't want to see away from each other. So give us one stitch across. And then I believe on this side I did it on the outside, so we're going to do it on the outside again. There we go. Great, so this is going to be the inside of the lid. Part of the inside of the lid. This is the part that gets a bit complex. So what we need to do is we need to assemble our lid. And so we have 4 pieces to the lid. We have the exterior. This is going to go as the outside of the bag. You're going to see when the bag's closed. That'll flap open. Then we have our inside of our lid, which is the mesh. And so this is the pocket. So this has the zipper on there. And then we have the zipper itself. This is going to be what attaches the lid of the bag to the exterior top flap of the bag. And then from there we also have this, which is a bit of a spacer that I have that makes the lid just a little bit bigger and the zipper a bit smaller. And so that's what lets me have the overlap. So what I mean by overlap is it has this extra spacing to it. And so that's where, with your bag closed, it has this little extra lip on it. So if there's dripping water or something like that, all these fabrics that I use for the exterior are kind of a vinyl leather or a heavy duty rubbery fabric, so they'll shed rain nicely. So that gives it the little lip. So that's what the lip is. And so then this is going to get attached to the teal, and then we're going to mount this mesh inside of that, and then we'll put a nice cleaning layer onto it. But first we got to measure the center of the zipper just like we did before. So we'll find that. Put a clip on. Let me make sure I'm fully. Now we're going to do the same thing for the lid. Going to go like that. Put a bit of a mark on there. And a mark on the bottom. So this is going to need a few different spots where it gets. So with this one, just like before, we're going to go the nice side to the nice side. Make sure that my center marks are the same. Now what I'm going to do is, these are going to come off again. I need to put some additional stitches on here to make these curves a little bit easier with the zipper. So what I like to do is hold this along the edge, just like this, until I see where it's about to start the curve. I'll put a clip on there, and then I'll hold this up till it makes the curve, and then put another clip on there. And I'm going to do that with both halves. So again, I hold this along where this starts its curve. I'm going to put a clip on the zipper and then hold it around the curve and then get it to the other side. Put a zipper clip on that. Alright, so now we're going to do 4 stitches on the machine, but we're going to do really long stitches. So on my machine, this is where the length of my stitch is going to be. And so I want it to be probably a 6 or a 7. Nice big stitches. And you'll see why in a minute. I put these 2 outside clips on either side of the zipper. What I'm going to do is start over here. And on the inside edge, make sure I have a bunch extra, because these are going to be my handles. See what I mean in a second. Go right along the edge. And I use this nice big stitches. Go out. Give it a good handle. Now I'm going to do it one more time on the other edge, because both ends of this are going to need to go around a radius. So this just helps set us up for success. One more. Good handle. Boop. Come to this side. Right to the edge. Okay. So now if I pull on one of these stitches, you can see that it combines or kind of tensions. Helps me make it around the radius. So if I pull it first, it'll make it a little easier, then I can adjust it a bit. And so that makes it easier to clip because that tugs all these little pieces in. I want that on the outside though, just like that though. There we go. So now I'm going to take this, do it on both sides, because this wants to be curled also. So I pull a little bit from both sides. And now just work the... But you can see it holds itself in that curve now. Much easier to clip. To make it so that our inside pocket sits nice where it wants to set, I don't have any pins, so the only way I've found to do it is to take, at least on writing on the black like this, take one of these metallic markers. I'm going to go and give it a 3/8 inch seam, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a 3/8 line around the edge of it. So when I come in to sew, it just lines up with that 3/8. When it gets to the corners out here, I just kind of give it a little connection. Let's go 3/8 right here. Beep. Alright. So now you can see I got this gold line Goes all the way around the outside, or at least the three sides. So now I'm going to attach it to this ribbon and put a, so we'll put one stitch along the inside of that. Now to clean up this inside edge, I have this bias tape, which is just basically a piece of ribbon that I will sew along the whole inside on both edges, and that'll keep this all looking nice and fresh and clean, and will also cover up that seam. I took the outside of the lid and I used all the little clips to line it up with the inside of the lid. Now I'm going to do just like I did with the other pieces, put a seam right around the very edge of that, nice and tight and close. But I'm going to do it on the outside because this is the finished side I need it to be, is this pink, so I can trim off any green afterwards. But we're just going to start in one side and do an 1/8 inch seam all the way around this pink. So this last part of lid assembly is just converting the lid into a whole panel. And so I have the big purple piece that I cut out, the big U, and these are already tightened to be the radiuses that I need. So I found the center of the purple and the center of the zipper. And just like every other time, we go the nice sides together. Nice sides together, and we're just going to make this go all the way around. To the sewing machine. Just like before while doing the zippers, I'm going to use the short side of the foot to go towards the teeth and line it up with the line on the foot. There you go. Keep it nice and lined up. Take your time. Final bit of the lid is going to be trimming off the whole top piece to make it nice and square. So we're going to go like this along the edge, and we're just going to trim it all right at the edge of this. And that is the whole lid. We can trim off all these little extra pieces. Alright, so I got enough of this bias tape left. I'm going to do the inside lip of this, so when she opens the bag, this will be a nice clean lip as well. So I'm just going to come back in here and redo this seam, but with a little bit of this tape. Alright, so we got the lid that is now clipped off to the main body of the bag. I also inserted two 1-inch nylon strips, polyester strips, whatever they are, straps, 1-inch straps. They're about 3 inches long, folded in half, and pointing towards the upper bit of the bag. This is going to be, the reason I have it, so it looks like this but blue. So the idea with these is that this is what your backpack straps will clip onto, both here and up top. And so you need to install these on the sides of the lid as those get attached. So I got these ones. I went with blue on this bag instead of black like on that one I just showed you, just because I wanted to be a little more fun colors, because I love me some fun colors, and so does Linnea. Okay. I'm going to do a couple lock stitches as I go over the strap, because I want it to be really well locked in there. Do a 3/8 stitch down the whole bag. Good lock stitch at the end. Now we're going to do the same thing on this one. All right, now we're gonna turn this right side in, inside out, whatever you want to call it. Right. It is coming together, very fun. Now we're gonna trim all the trimmies. Alright, now I want to add an extra seam, just like I do with all the other ones, to flatten it out. So with this one, I want these, the little blue straps, you can see how they stick out here like that. I want those to get sewn into the side panels as well. It gives it a little extra strength. And then once that's done, we'll go all the way up the bag, making it so that this sits nice and flat. It'll clean up this edge a little bit, make it a little more usable. So sneak inside that lid. Again, making sure you pull these edges nice and tight. Becomes nice and flat. All right, so again, just like sewing these together, I like to install these pieces first. So I have the center mark of the top panel of the bag, and then I have these little 3-inch strips that I fold over, and those get sewn in. And then what happens is my removable backpack straps have some clips that can attach to those. So I give it a little extra and sew these in. This is how I go about clipping up the end of it. So what I do is I take the end panel that I'm going to use. Where's the marker? Where's your marker? Oh, there's marker. So the way I line this out, as I go, I fold the piece in half, put a little mark at the end, fold the piece in half, put a little mark in the end. So this just lets me know where the center of each piece is on the edges. So when I want to come through, I also mark the center of these and I clip the 4 centers and then work my way out towards the edges. And I'll trim the corners a little bit to allow myself to have a little more ability. So if you slice it, those can fold over each other a little bit. So when you're trying to tuck these corners in, if you slice them, you can fold these little corners over a little better. It allows them to make those radius. You might need to trim off a little bit depending on how your seam's lined out. But so you just start in the center of each flat side and then work your way towards the corners. And I like to put a bunch of clips on this just because this one's kind of a pain in the butt to sneak in the machine there. So just put a bunch of clips on there, do one side, come over, do the other side. So we'll just get this one sewed up now that it's already clipped up. Okay, so I got both of these ends nice and sewn together. You can see it's the shape of the bag that we want. So now I just go around, trim off any little extras. If you did want to, you could put another strip of bias tape around the inside of these, seal these off. But I think they doesn't really make a big difference to me. It's on the inside of the bag where you're never really going to have access to, or you're never really going to have it be in the way or rub against it. So what I like to do now is open up the bag. This is the fun part. And pull it right side out. This is our first time seeing the bag. Poke each one of these little corners out. Okay, the last thing that I like to do is we have these two little tabs right here. So I'm gonna put a seam or put a stitch right at the base of each one of those. Just holds these into this place. Kind of have to climb inside the bag for this one. There we go. This back up from the outside, and booyah. It is time to sew up our two backpack straps we're going to use for this. I have my blue webbing running down the middle. I have a kind of a mesh backpack, or like a mesh padding cover that lets a little airflow through. Then I got a little piece of moving blanket. It's just a cheap piece of thickener that I want to put in here, make the straps a little more comfortable. So I have my two backpack straps in reverse, and so they're flipped over inverse. So when I flip them inside out, they'll go in opposite directions. I got some flat side and flat side. This is where the strap is just gonna dangle free. And then on the inside, I have this webbing that runs in. So as I do a loop around these, I'm gonna make sure that I don't attach this strap into this sewing pattern right here, so you can just kind of feel it with your fingers. So what I'm gonna do is come in just a little bit in from this line. I found it easier to lay out my whole straps before I cut them out. Cutting out each one tends to make them twist a little funny once they're all sewn up. So if you just make them into a flat pad like this, do both of them, then you can just cut them out and pull them inside out. So we're gonna start up at the edge up here. Like I was saying, just go in just a little bit from the edge and go all the way down, making sure that I don't hit this strap. Now I can come back with my rotary cutter, and I'm gonna go just 1/8 of an inch or so in from that seam, or out from that seam. I want to give enough fabric that when I start pulling on it, it doesn't unravel, but not do too much fabric that it gets messed up when I flip it inside out. Next step of these straps is I like to just attach one end. Remember that blue strap we had down in the middle? Well, I like to attach that. It gives me more hands to play around with this. So we just use that to pull this strap inside out. It's going to turn out like this in the end, and then we're going to re-strap or re-clip it. Once it's fully pulled through, it's going to look kind of like this, and then you're going to roll the edges and clip them along, and we're going to run a seam along that as well, and that's going to keep that section nice and flat. So first we pull this inside out, and then we strap it, or then we clip it. Some ladder locks, 4 of these. So these are going to be the clips that hold the backpack straps onto the bag. They just have a little thing that pops out that you can slide this in, and that gets reclipped. Attach that just like that. I like to put the buckle under the strap a little bit, so once this connects, the strap gets a little closer. You have a little more protection for the back of your neck. We're going to stitch this on just like we did the top piece. Start next to the skinny foot. Now I want these to have a adjustability to them. So I'm going to trim that off right about there. here. It's called a ladder lock, standard adjustable part for like a backpack strap, anything like that. So just what we're using right now. And I'm going to hook that right there. Final bit of assembly, putting the straps on all together now. That goes on there. This goes on here. Ah, wow, they're tough on fingers. This gets threaded up through. There we go. Perfect. There we go. This can just get thrown on. These can get tightened up. And here we go. Backpack straps. Way cool. Wait, free gate check? Yeah, let's do that. Let's just take these straps, give it a snap, give it a snap. Take all these off. Lickety split. Now we're just gonna open that up. Shove our straps inside. Now, boom. You got yourself a free gate check, or bring it along the way, have it up in your bin above you, and oh, I just want my headphones out. Good thing you got this. Oh yeah. Beautiful. And some wicked fun colors. You got this up here for toiletries. You got all these pockets down in here for socks and undies and whatever you want or need down in here. Woo! Well, that's my process for making one of these carry-on bags. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. Maybe leave a comment or a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.